is somewhere on the Kentucky River up near Ravenna. I stuck in a couple of these. This is back before the locks and dams went in. Guys, it isn't a free-flowing river out there. It's a canal out there, a man-made canal. This is the Kentucky River. Look, there ain't any water in it. The houseboat is propped up here on the side of the hill, and it's late summer, and the thing is empty. And all those good people that say, oh, we need to take the locks and dams out so we have a free-flowing river. This is what you're going to have in July and August. A creek at the most flowing through. This is when the locks and dams are in, or we got a high water. This is once again somewhere up around Beattyville, I'm assuming. Gentleman standing there. This is outside of Ravenna, with the train coming in, Ravenna being right about there. I am told this was outside of Ravenna, and when they double tracked the area past Ravenna, this came out. That's what I was told. A view in a Ravenna yard. As you know, all this is gone. This is the Kentucky Steam Heritage building. They're the old C&O car shops back here. The water tower's gone. All this track is gone except for 2 or 3 tracks over here used for storage. And amazing what this was like. I can remember coming down here in the 1970s. I had gotten my late 70s, because I'd become an engineer at BGRM. I can't climb up on the locomotives anymore. I can't even get on the cars. They beat my knees to back. Anyway, I knew a couple of the guys down here. I used to get to operate the engines in switching service. Couldn't do that today. Did up in Queensgate too. Did a couple times down in Corbin. My big thing in life was I ran the last C&O locomotive in C&O paint up in Queensgate, and I got to take a chassis locomotive from the refueling spot down at Corbin up onto the turntable, turn her on the turntable, and take her back down for the crew to take out. You know, the turntable down at the Corbin's now landlocked. And as I said, this is all gone. And talking a little bit too long, but good Lord, 40 years ago, this was here. 30 years ago, it was gone. Here. Now it's gone, 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 gone. Over at Paris, Kentucky, this I believe is over Houston Creek, northbound train. This is over Stoner Creek, a southbound train. The Paris Depot, depending on my story, that's either the Lexington connection waiting to be picked up, or it's a Kentucky, Frankfurt and Cincinnati train sitting there waiting to go. If you have not been up there to eat, it's a very nice eating establishment. Richmond, Kentucky. This is all gone. There is a single track through town. You got to go down there and look at it. I was down there about 3 months ago. I could not believe it. There is this track here. Everything else is gone. Gone, gone, gone. The shed for the guy to stand on the street to stop the traffic. Another view of the depot there. One more view thereof. I believe this car is photoshopped in as that car is photoshopped in. They're out of scale. Another view thereof. One more view of. One more view. Okay. Here is the depot, a view of. I stuck this in because here's what's left. Okay. See the depot here? This was the little freight park. So they tore everything else down and they had left this for the signal people. And I can't remember if that was standing there the last time I went through or not. CSX is in a huge thing to tear down anything they're not using to get out of real estate tax. I was up at Deschler and I saw the scoop pick up the last piece of the Deschler depot and drop it in a dump truck. And following it came a dump truck that began to pour gravel on the ground so they could put in a gravel parking lot. This is the other depot that was in Richmond. We'll call it the Ronnie B Depot, the Louisville Atlantic Depot, the L&N Depot. If you go up there, there is still a stub track that comes in and ends about right there. And there's a circus loading ramp right here. The rest of this is gone. And I'm not too sure how long that stub track's going to still be there. But this was the Ronnie B, which ran from Frankfurt, Millville, Versailles, Nicholasville, Richmond, Irvine, Beattyville to Jackson. Orlando. Have any of you guys been to Orlando, Kentucky? If you haven't, you need to go to Orlando, Kentucky. We are coming south. Whoops, we're crossing Bush Creek. Whoops, we're going through Tunnel 14. Whoops, we're crossing Bush Creek. Whoops, we're going through Tunnel 15. Whoops, we're crossing Bush Creek, and we are at Orlando right here. So within a quarter of a mile, you cross Bush Creek 3 times, and you go through 2 tunnels. The little town of Orlando's here. There was Orlando. It had a major yard there. There were some coal mines that fed in to that. If you've never been to Orlando, go south on I-75. Get off at the second Mount Vernon exit, the second exit. Go underneath the interstate. You're heading east. As you go underneath the interstate, on the left-hand side, there's going to be a Kentucky highway. Can't remember its number. It looks like it's a driveway. It's about a lane wide at the best. Drive that up and over the hill into Orlando. Cross the railroad tracks. As soon as you cross the railroad tracks, there's a gravel road. It's a county road. It is a county road. I promise you, it's a county road. And it comes back along here. This building's still here. It's gone. Comes back here. There is a crossing here, but keep going back to the next cross over, and I will show you where you come out. Otherwise, cross the bridge on over, come back down this road here to the first turn on the left, cut back, you go underneath the railroad tracks, short distance, you come to a road on your right. It's a hairpin turn, and you follow that back, you'll get back to the tunnels. There it is today. As I said, this is that gravel road coming back. This is the first county road. And you go back here a little bit farther, and you're back at the second county road. Okay, we've gone all the way around through Bush Creek. Let me back up. We're up here right now. So I've come across the road here, driven down here, cut underneath the bridge here, come up and around, followed this road here down and around that leads over here, and what it leads to is a cemetery. Okay, we're on the far side. There's Bush Creek, Tunnel 14, Bush Creek, Tunnel 15, Bush Creek. We've moved up a little closer. Bush Creek, Tunnel 14, Tunnel 15, Bush Creek here and Bush Creek on the other side. You got to see this thing. We've driven around. Now we're looking back at Tunnel 14. And we turn. There's Bush Creek and there's Tunnel 15. The eye of the needle is what's called. Okay. I flew my drone back here, okay? Anyway, we're on the other side, looking back. 15's the eye of the needle, back to 14, Bush Creek here. I'm standing on, I'm not standing on the Bush Creek Bridge. I don't trespass. Anyway. Okay, you know what I'm trying to say. Here's Bush Creek here. There's Tunnel 14. So if you follow that road around, like I said, you wind up at KC 147. The county road is right here. It ducks down here and goes down to a farm down here. So that's where we are. It is very neat to go out there. You cannot take this picture today. By the way, here's that road I was telling you that comes down and under, comes up here, swings around, and cuts through. I think what's very interesting is they daylighted this tunnel, and then they took the track out, and they used the track through the tunnel they did not daylight. This is a Dave Orsey picture. I'd love to claim it as mine. You cannot take this picture today. This is all covered with trees, vegetation, and you name it. But once again, there's that road that swings up and around, back to there, swings around. It's a good drivable road. Having said that, do not take your low slung car back there. If your car doesn't have any clearance, don't do it. I got an SUV, so I take it to all kind of crazy places. Okay, we are looking down at Tunnel 15. We're standing up there on the roadway on the other side of Bush Creek, looking at Tunnel 15. Okay, I've gone all the way up around to the other side of Tunnel 14, Bush Creek, 14, Bush Creek, 15, Bush Creek. And we got this light power running at us. And that's it. If we have a little time, I'll show you some Kentucky Derby train photos. This is when they would stage out of what was the Frankfurt and Cincinnati lead. Now R.J. Corman uses it for storage of equipment. Still Corman's lead back in there. But this is where CSX used to park their Derby train. Okay, story time for you. Now I'm up here walking along, taking my pictures, and CSX guys are sitting out here, and I get talking with them, and they invite me to share a hamburger with them and a drink. And there's a gentleman sitting there who's got this CSX tie on, and I'm talking with him. And I said to him jokingly, "You better not turn your back on me because I may bop you on the head to get that tie from you." And he laughed about it. So anyway, after I got done, I walked on down, photographed, came back. So I came back, he stopped me and he said, "Hey, you really want this tie?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to have it." He said, "Here it is. You can tell the people Pete Carpenter gave it to you." Did you get that? Pete Carpenter gave it to you. Pete Carpenter? I'm going, sorry, I didn't recognize you. Anyway, there they are set up in there. The train pulling out. Who was it that was governor after Patton? Fletcher, dumbest man in the world. He ran on his thing, we'll get rid of the Derby train. The Derby train cost the state some money, but it really didn't cost them that much money, because what they did was they sold tickets, but they invited the people who of Toyota, the General Electric, Ford to come and ride on it. And it gave the big business people time to smooge with the politicians smooge with them, and to bring on guys who are thinking about moving to Kentucky. It was a big sell Kentucky deal. My wife and I worked this a number of times in the Georgia car. She is a server and me as bartender. So I thought very highly of it. Pulling up on in front of the old depot on Derby Day. Little band to play to get people on board. The Southern Belle should show up soon. Now, half the train is CSX people and half is the governor's train. The front half was CSX, the rear half was governor. And I think we're about at the break point where the CSX people went forward and the governor's people went aft. I believe I'm correct on saying that. There's the car that Mary Ann and me worked all the time, the Georgia. It had a bar up here, theater seating here, and this was the governor's car on the way down. He would be in here with the big wigs doing his thing. On the way back, the governor was the rest of the train, and this became the rail fan hangout. And all the lights would be turned off, and they could care less whether they got a free drink or what. They wanted to just sit here. We'd have the ditch lights on here and here to look back. It was a fabulous ride from Louisville back to Frankfort. Coming up and over the bridge. I'm going, man. This is the bridge they're going to tear down, the 1890 railroad bridge, which became a highway bridge, and they closed. They're supposedly going to put back in a pedestrian walkway. It's a little bit out of order. I can't think of its name. Darn it. But anyway, they pulled up. They had to stop the train because some dignitaries were showing up late. Matt Schultz. And anyway, they look back, they get them on board, and they start the train up. Okay, they're starting the train up. They're moving. And I'm standing here, patting myself on top of the head and pointing my two fingers at my eyes. Top of my head, two fingers at my eyes. Why am I doing that, guys? Patting my head, pointing my fingers at my eyes. Look at the locomotive. They're moving. They forgot to turn the headlight back on. Matt stuck his head out and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Headlights." And he went, "Oh," and ducked back in, and the headlights came on. This has been taken down by Corman. It's supposed to have gone to the BGRM, but we have not seen it. Up in Benson Valley, you didn't know CSX ran a steam train for the Derby train, did you? But they did. Look at the smoke. Can only be a steam train, right? Whoa, wait a minute. They're followed by Mr. Corman's train. And another year, Mr. Corman ran his J. Of course, they'd only run the steam engine to Christiansburg, cut it off because CSX wouldn't allow the steam locomotive past HK Tower. See that little girl my wife's holding? That was the neatest kid in the whole world. She loved going rail fanning with me. Then one day she turned 13 and it was all over. You want me to go ahead a little bit more or you want me to stop?
All right.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple or more or so on.
Okay. We'll just go through Osmond Yard, quick like. I was down there. I had some friends down there and they had called me and said, you need to come down here. And why? And they said, we had a big derailment. And I got there when it had already been partially cleaned up. But they had a side swipe. Corman was in there with his sidewinders picking stuff up. There was the side swipe. I don't know who was at fault for it. I just took some pictures. I just find it amazing the way these sidewinders work. And you think in the old days, they bring out the big derrick to do all this stuff. And now they just bring out two of these little tractors and go bip, 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 and it's all over with. It isn't quite like that, but it works. Sidewinder to each side, picking the car up, rolling the wheel under. You know, these counterweights, they swing out to balance the, if the weight over here is too heavy, this swings out to equal the weight. And then instead of doing that, they brought the dozer up, dropped the shovel down on it, and is using that to hold the, from tipping over. I don't know if the side weight wasn't working. That's why they had to bring the dozer up to hold it into place or what. That's what they're doing here. Just about got her re-railed. Of course, after these guys got done, the track guys were out there inspecting all the rails because they just drove their tractors up and over the rails. Let me throw this one in, and now this will be the last one. Does anybody know what happened here? I picked this slide up off of eBay. Said Ford, Kentucky. I assume it was back when CSX was running road railers.
Yeah.
Looks like they put some on the ground. Okay, that's it. Thanks for putting up with me.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles. And we got some from Lexington and some other ones too. So that's great. Does anybody have a question?
I enjoyed it.
That was
I enjoyed
interesting.
it too.
I liked it.
Thank you.
I'm going to go down to Orlando and visit that.
It is a neat place to visit. It really is.
It's not too far from where I live.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
Charles,
Yes,
quick comment. I got a chuckle out of your CB&Q boxcar right at the very beginning, because that was one of the things, that was the railroad station that I showed you back in the modeling thing for the
right.
Burlington going through Red Oak, Iowa. That was interesting. Neat trick.
Right.
Thanks very much.
Okay.